So certainly you do recognize this as your coat of arms. It's very nearly 2 decades since Ghana returned to democratic rule after 3 unsuccessful attempts. Even though the current spell is the longest period of democratic governance, it has mainly been dominated by the National Democratic Congress (NDC) and the New Patriotic Party (NPP). For the parties from which ticket independence was secured, the CPP continues to diminish in each election, mainly fading into the NPP and NDC. Well, those are the facts. Let me show you some graphics of what I'm talking about. So you have there this Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. And of course, he was president from 7th January 1993 to 7th January 2001. He's one of the longest serving presidents on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress. Let's talk about John Agyekum Kufuor from the 7th of January 2001 to the 7th of January 2009 on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party. The gentle giants, they called him. He's still around. Professor John Evans Atta Mills, 7th January 2009 to the 24th of July 2012. And of course, he could not finish his term before he died. National Democratic Congress was a ticket upon which he ran at that time. But of course, it gives you an idea. The NDC before, now the NDC again. John Dramani Mahama took over from President Atta Mills after his demise. He was then vice president. You do remember that story. From the 24th of July 2012 to the 7th of January 2017, again on the National Democratic Congress's ticket. Certainly, at the moment, we are in the administration of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who started from the 7th of January 2017. He's still on the throne, and 2020 will determine whether or not he continues to be there. So these two political parties are obviously dominating. They have been dominating for a very long time. But despite their dominance, Ghanaians seems to be dissatisfied sometimes with the performance of these two parties. There are complaints here and there. Every now and then you hear one or two. Listen to some of the complaints of some of the people and the extent to which they are dissatisfied. We spoke to them here in Accra.
For me, I see the first MPP, like Kufuor's reign, as a better leadership than the rest, because most of them have been, we don't even know what other people are doing for us. But with Kufuor, at least we saw a lot of developments. We saw the, evolution of banks in the system, in the country. There were other assets. Those days you didn't even need to go to a government for a project. Things were happening, but now it's very different. To me, leadership is going down unless we get somebody who is, who has a love for the country. Otherwise, what we are doing, we're just beating about the bush.
Like Rawlings, Kufuor, the government is okay, but this government is too hardship. We cannot see anything. Things are not moving on. Things are hard. Since Mahama came to power, all my things are moving on well, but this government, things are not moving on well at all, because things are very hard.
They are coming to power, they promise a lot, but when they are in power, sometimes they deliver a little. That's what we see. So I'm just pleading that what's like this current government is doing, it should speed up development so that whether you're in opposition or you're in government, you should enjoy the little cake that is good for the nation, so that we can all live in this peaceful nation.
Now the leadership today is better than the past, if I may say. It's better than the past, because the past leadership, they all came to loot and share than today. So in my mind, I know today is better than the previous, because look at this, our free education. Where from that money? Before they were taking the money into they are sharing the money into your pockets. And look at the different things that the government is doing. So the past leadership, they didn't help us. Loot and share. So whenever you also get something to eat, then you appreciate whatever is going on. But today I know he has seized everything, so no one is getting to it. So that's why people were saying bad things about the leadership.
This country, things are moving wrongly. But I'm begging my leaders that we should be serious. Over the years, things are moving well. As now, this all is going wrong. but let them correct the mistake.
So those are some of the Ghanaians that we've been speaking to on the streets of Accra. Well, they promise a lot and deliver a little, loot and share. Those are the thoughts that people seem to have. As you heard them, some say, well, the previous government was good. Others say the previous government was terrible. Some say this government is good. Some say this government is terrible. Certainly not a line of satisfaction in there for both previous and current. Well, despite their disappointment, results of previous elections have shown that not many of us as Ghanaians appear ready to change. It's always been the NPP, NDC narrative. Well, a new election is upcoming next year, and the dialogue seems to be changing. Well, if you follow social media, there's this gentleman who started talking about his own independent candidacy, and a lot of talk has been ongoing on that. On the polls today, we'll begin a discussion on whether or not Ghanaians will consider voting for an independent candidate in the next year's election. You can join us on this conversation via our social media handles on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook is at facebook.com/JoyNews on TV, and on Twitter it's at JoyNews on TV. On Instagram as well, JoyNews on TV. You can do it through the hashtag Independent President 2020. That's right there on your screen. Hashtag Independent President 2020. With me in the studio for this conversation is Jacob Osei-Yeboah. He's popularly known as Joy. He's made attempts at the presidency twice as an independent candidate in the past. We're learning he's eyeing the seat again next year's election. Mr. Osei-Yeboah, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gifty.
And thank you very much for coming. Well, I'll also be joined via Skype by Kofi Akpaloo. He's an African author, philosopher, and public speaker. He's also an accountant. He's also declared his intention to run for presidency in 2020. He'll be joining us via Skype, like I said. I also have here in the studio Kofi Akpaloo. Kofi Akpaloo is the leader of the Liberal Party of Ghana. That's LPG. It's not the gas you use at home, by the way. He's also here in the studio. Mr. Akpaloo, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And I will be joined on the line by a political analyst as well. On social media, we have a question for you. We're asking you to share with us your thoughts. And the question is, will you vote for an independent candidate in election 2020? The results are quite interesting, and we'll be going through them with you in the course of the conversation. So, our first question. Increasing number of Ghanaians seems to be yearning for an independent candidate as president. But is that right in the first place even? And are the independent parties prepared for this? Do they even have the capacity? Anyone can answer. Let me begin with you, Mr. Akpaloo. First of all, you are not necessarily an independent candidate because you have a party. But a lot of people have said that even with your party, the LPG, it seems like it's a one-man affair. So no. you are more or less an independent candidate.
No, it's not like that. Because I'm workaholic, that's why. Because you see me always working. I don't decide to sit down and allow people to work for me. You understand? I try to be involved. Because if you sit down to wait for people to come with reports, sometimes you may end up getting wrong stuff. So that is why you see me all over.
But if you say somebody like, Mr. Osei-Yeboah here, he's an independent candidate. Everybody knows that he is an independent candidate. He's somebody who said, I'm putting myself up. So he doesn't necessarily belong to a party, but he's an independent candidate. You have a party, but you seem to be an independent candidate.
No, I'm not. I'm part of the Liberal Party. We're the only party with a woman general secretary.
I see.
Yeah, in the whole of this country.
Okay.
And then also, if you want to know our office is just across, just on the top radio, the same road with top radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Osei-Yeboah, let me start the conversation proper with you. You have been an independent candidate for 2012. You lost. I'm sure you knew you would lose. 2016, you lost. I'm sure you knew you would lose. Did you not know, given the background of our political history, NDC, NPP, it has been for a very, very, very long time. Did you not know you would lose in 2012 and 2016?
So whenever you want to build a house, you need to ensure that you set the right structure. And so the foundation that we needed to lay for the independent presidential system as the better alternative for the partisan system was what we began in 2012.
Okay.
Okay. it's been established. You see, if you understand the change management process, you need to announce. So right from 2012, I announced.
Okay, so that was like a beginning.
Beginning.
Your entry point.
Your entry point. I needed to announce to Ghanaians that, hey, this partisan politics with polarization is not taking us anywhere. The two political parties are one. You know, as at that time, you know, it was very difficult for Ghanaians to understand. And so, if you read my book, you know, I came out with what I term as Working Ghana Agenda. The NDC saw it, and Mahama made a very huge billboard and said, working for you. At the same time, the MPP also pick it and say Ghana will work again.
Do you think those things worked against your candidacy in 2012?
Oh no, you see, they had the media. I know they can make a lot of noise just as they are making, even around this time. But we were talking about delivery, and I knew.
So you made your entry in 2012. Yeah. Fast forward 4 years, 2016. Was it still an entry point for you because you didn't do any better?
We were still working, and honestly, in 2016, our strategy was to speak. The target was our religious leaders and our traditional leaders. And in fact, they were the respected citizens that we actually sent our manifesto.
They didn't listen to you, it looks like.
No, they did. You see, anytime they normally help me to qualify, religious leaders and traditional leaders, they always help me to qualify. And they are the secret behind all the successes. And 2020 is the D-Day.
You're going again in 2020?
Redemption. Yes. I mean, the survey that you did, I mean, actually.
We'll get to that momentarily, but what makes you think that 2020 will be any better than 2012 and 2016?
Actually, they say that truth passes through 3 stages. First is this radical, second is opposed, and third, it becomes self-evident. And now, when we began in 2012, we were being radical, we were being independent. 2016, they started opposing me, and then I still went. 2020, it has become self-evident. Now that Nanado is on the seat, and there's no doubt that it's not an individual, but the system of partisan politics cannot help us as a nation. I've stated it in this book. That is why immediately after 2012, I came out with this book. It's not now. So everything that is happening in this country is in this book. And how to govern this nation is in this book. And all the key stakeholders, we can name whoever, right from my own 2-4, Rollins, whoever, they've all read this book. And they know that, hey, give this nation to this young man.
I see. Let me come to you, Mr. Akpaloo. I'll be getting to our polls right after this. But Mr. Akpaloo, do you think that Ghana is ready for an independent candidacy?
No, Ghana is not ready for an independent candidate, but rather Ghana is ready for somebody who has the nation at heart and somebody who has a vision to move this country forward. And I believe I have that qualities and I'm going to transform this country.
Why do you not think that Ghana is ready for an independent candidate after all the ills that we've seen, or people say they have seen, after all the things that we've seen with the NPP and the NDC? He's saying that they are the same. A lot of people have actually said NDC and NPP, take the two parties, the value is the same. What makes you think that that has not angered, especially floating voters, enough to want an independent person who has no backlog of political parties to come with?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with political parties whatsoever. It has something to do with somebody who has vision. And I'm telling you, I have that vision. Because if you don't have the vision, if they give it to you, where are you taking it to? And where are you going with it? So you need to have vision, you need to have a purpose why people should vote for you. And I believe that we need to listen to people, listen to their cries, and then come out with something that will cause them to, vote for you or campaign for you. So if you don't have a message, the people, what will they carry to tell other people to follow you? Because you must have a message. And the message is clear. People need money in their pockets. So if you are not able to come out with something that will put money into people's pocket, forget it. Because since 1992 to date, their cries is simple. They want money. They want money. Everybody, every government upon government, people have been crying for money. They need money. There's no money circulating in the country. So LPG, we believe that we have the antidote. And the antidote is simple. We are going to put monies directly into people's pocket by introducing what we call child benefit and unemployment benefit to stimulate the economy. Because you need people to have purchasing power to buy goods and services. Because if you don't have the money, how can you buy? So if somebody have their wares in the market, how will people go and buy? Because they don't have money.
So bottom line, the point you're trying to make is that Ghana is not ready for an independent candidate.
No, Ghana is not ready for an independent candidate, but Ghana is ready for somebody party with a vision to transform their lives.
If I get you right, Ghana is ready for a different party besides NPP or NDC, but Ghana is not ready for an independent candidate.
It's neither NDC, NPP, LPG. It's about somebody who has a vision. Yeah?
So the conversation is about NPP, NDC, and whether or not Ghanaians have had enough of them, and Ghanaians want to put them aside and go with a different
yes, that different thing must come up with something different.
Is that LPG?
Yes, LPG. That is why we are promising that we will pay
because you said it's neither
NPP.
You said it's neither NPP nor NDC nor LPG. So I was confused as to whether or not you want your party.
It's like exams. You know, when you're writing exams, you see the question and then you produce different answers. Taken, you've written. But the whole thing is that LPG as a party, we believe that we can transform Ghana. We can turn things around.
I see.
That's why we are promising to set up a $10 billion job fund.
Okay, a lot of people say, Mr. Akpaloo, a lot of people say you talk big, but do you have all that money in your pocket yourself?
No, I don't need money. I need to create it.
You need to create
because
it.
We have to create the money. You see, you
don't need to have money to create it. That's the point you're trying to make.
No, you have to create it. Create money.
So the point you're making is that you don't need to have the money to create it.
If I become president, I'm not expecting that I'm going to inherit some money sitting somewhere. I have to come up with some ideas that will turn things around.
To generate the money.
To create the money.
Okay, Mr. Osayebo, I've engaged you quite briefly, but I didn't ask you the question as to whether or not you think Ghana is ready for an independent president. But obviously, you think Ghana is ready because you want to be, you're in the race for 2020, and you want to be president as an independent candidate for 2020.
There's no iota of doubt. Okay. You see, if you want to explain, sometimes people say, when I come, I will do this, I will do that. When you have a goal, or what we term as strategy, you need a structure. When you have the right structure, that is when you'll be able to achieve your goal.
Okay.
We don't have it now.
We don't have the structure for an independent candidate?
No, we don't have the structure that can help us as African, looking at our anthropological disposition.
Okay, I'm a bit confused.
I just don't want to go deeper.
No, help me to understand. If you do, I will get it.
The first thing is that you need a framework.
Okay.
Let me put it there. Or infrastructure.
You need a system.
A system that should carry whatever goal or strategy that you have.
Okay. So are you saying that if that system exists, then it doesn't matter whether or not it's a political party or an individual, as in a presidential, an independent candidate?
You see, that system, you need to create that with an understanding before it will be able to deliver. And what I've said severally is that the partisan politics in a multi-ethnic society will not work for Ghana and Africa.
It will not work for Ghana and Africa. And so bottom line, your answer is that Ghana is ready for an independent. So there's one thing with we needing an independent candidate, president, and there's another thing when it's another thing to say we are ready for it. That's the question I'm trying to find answers to. Okay. We've been joined on the phone by Kofi Akpaloo. He's an African author. He's also a philosopher. He's an accountant as well, and he's a development practitioner. He's indicated his intention to be a part of the 2020 elections as an independent candidate. Mr. Kofi Akpaloo, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Okay. So you have been, your pictures, your message, a lot have been circulating on social media. You want to be president as an independent candidate. What makes you think that Ghana is ready for an independent candidate?
Do I think Ghana is ready? Of course Ghana is ready. I mean, all you have to do is to listen to the Ghanaian people today. So I'm a bit confused why my two colleagues in the studio do not believe that Ghana is ready. Ghana is very ready. The people of Ghana are ready. I think what people are struggling with is how we line up against what they have been used to, which is, i.e., the two political parties, the NPP and the NDC. However, you just have to look around, you just have to talk to people today to understand that people are fed up with the NDC and NPP. What Ghana needs right now is nothing to do with political party or the structures in which they come. What Ghana needs and what people are craving for is a leader that would stand up and say to them, you know what, we have had this for 27 odd years. It's not taking anybody anywhere. It's not taking the government structures anywhere. It's not taking the citizens anywhere.
Okay.
And the question we should all be asking is, do we want this for another 27 years?
Do we want this for another 27 years? What for you shows, and I believe that you have done some research because you wouldn't just start wanting to be president if you haven't done all of this. What shows? You've said that you think Ghana is ready for an independent candidate. What shows that Ghana is indeed ready from your perspective?
Well, I'm not sure if that's the right question, because otherwise we would have also asked that in 2016.
What shows for you? You tell us what shows for you.
Well, that's what I'm answering. Then we would have also gone back to 2016 and asked what shows that Mahama would have lost the election, or what shows that the MPP would have won, having tried for several times. So it's not really what you can see, because by the time you see it, that is election period and it's happening live. I think the essence here is to understand what the sentiments of the people is and how that can be driven to achieve anything that one wants to achieve. So for me, it's about what is on the ground. It's about the pulse on the ground. That's what we're feeling, and that's what we want to capitalize on. And it's not just about that. We do think genuinely, aside what people feel, aside what citizens are saying, we do feel, and I do feel very strongly, and I know this for a fact, that Ghana has gotten to a point where we cannot, it's not even a matter of choice right now, we cannot continue with how things are going. We do need to stop this in the bud, because, look, we've done this, like I said, for 27 odd years. I really can't see us doing this for another 10 or another 5. It's driving us down the hole.
Okay. So hang on for me, Mr. Gan. I'm going to go on our Twitter handle, because we've asked people to answer that question for us, so that we continue with the discussion. So let's go on Twitter right now. And so essentially, so we have a very long message there. We tell you about how the two main political parties, the NDC and the MPP, have had their terms with government since 1992. And we ask you whether or not you're satisfied. And we ask you again, will you vote for an independent candidate in election 2020? So let's look at the result from that poll that we conducted on Twitter. 44% of the people say yes. 56% of the people say no. So a few more people think, or fewer people think, Ghana is ready for an independent candidate than those who think Ghana is not ready. So a lot more people think that Ghana is not ready for an independent candidate based on the number of people. And if we could go up a little so we can look at the number of people that participated in this vote. Can we go up a little bit on this page so we can look at the number of people who voted? Okay, I'll get you the figures. Over the thousands, about thousands voted for this. And they are saying 44% of those who voted say yes, Ghana is ready for for an independent candidate. 56% of them say no, Ghana is not ready for an independent candidate. I'm going to take we'll take what the Facebook post also says. But Mr. Gan, I'd like for you to quickly react to that result. Just hang on for me. Let me take you through the Facebook post as well. So on
right.
Okay, I can't really see the figure properly. So let me take your take on this, Mr. Gan.
So I saw the poll the other day, and I thought it was a good poll. I just felt that there is two questions that could be a yes or no answer, all lumped up in one. And so there isn't any room for somebody to say yes to one and no to the other. So even though I agree it's a good poll, I just felt the questions should have been done one at a time separately because as it is, it's hard to read into, what the yes means, whether it's being said yes to the two questions or it's just yes to one question. That's my take on the poll.
Okay.
So I could have interpreted that as saying that people saying, they are happy with the two parties. No. And will they, be happy with an independent candidate? It could be yes. And I'm sure it is yes. So it's a bit of a tricky poll.
I'll agree with you on that tricky bit. But one thing I need to point out also is that assuming, without admitting, that this particular question was to answer or to satisfy the question about whether or not people are satisfied with MPP NDC, again, fewer people said yes. So that's assuming that the answers are for that question.
I actually think that a lot more people are answering no to the fact, to the question whether they are happy with the NDC or the MPP. I think that is what a lot of people will be answering to, and not whether or not they are ready for an independent candidate. Because, like I said, what people are craving for is not about the form in which somebody comes. It's about the fact that they want a leader. Somebody who would hold your hands and say, we're heading in this direction. We believe it's the right direction that will be beneficial to all of us. Can we all get on that road and go? That is what people are looking for.
We can always run another poll. Don't worry about that at all. We can always run another poll that will deal specifically with whether or not Ghana is ready for an independent candidate. But hang on and let me bring the conversation to my guest here in the studio as well. That is Mr. Gan's take on the polls that we showed you. On Facebook, 35% said yes, 65% said no. Assuming again that they're answering the final question. Will you vote for an independent candidate? Mr. Gan has already spoken about his take. He thinks that the answer could be for the other question. But what do you see from what we showed you?
I think it's not far from the truth. Because one, the first question is, are you satisfied with MPP and NDC governance? And then the answer will be definitely no. Are you okay? And then will you vote for them again, or you vote for an alternative?
Will you vote for an independent candidate?
No, not independent candidate, an alternative.
No, the question is...
You see, when you say...
we ask, are you satisfied?
So when you say independent candidate, then they will say no.
So wait, the question is, are you satisfied? And I understand the tricky bits that Mr. Gan pointed out. Yeah. I get it. But the point is, what I'm trying to do is for us to work with what we have at the moment.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That if the first question says, are you happy with MPP or NDC governance?
And the first one is 35%.
The answer says yes, 35%, and then the no's are saying 65%.
Yes.
And then the second question, will you vote for an independent candidate?
Again, the answer
is yes,
35%, no,
65.
So it buttresses the point that you made, that Ghana is not ready for an independent candidate.
They are ready for a leader, but somebody with a vision to transform this economy.
But they're not ready for an independent candidate.
No, because anybody can be an independent candidate, and he might not have a vision, he might not have the solution to our problems.
I see.
Yeah, so just being an independent candidate does not give you what Ghanaians want.
Okay. So we've heard from the perspective of Mr. Gan, who is just about getting into the game. Yeah. This is his first time, so he's a new person on the block. Yeah. Mr. Osei-Yeboah.
It's welcome to the game because Osei-Yeboah managed to get 15,000 in 2012, and then he maintained 15,000 in 2016. 14% in 2012, 40% in.
Okay. So you've become a spokesperson already.
No,
I just want to. Yeah, I thank you. I thank you for that. Because I thank you for that. The only thing I want to add to that is that I don't have the figures right now with me, so I won't be able to verify that. But I don't think you're wrong with it.
Oh, okay.
But Mr. Osei-Yeboah, here is somebody who wants to do what you did in 2012. He believes that Ghana is ready for an independent candidate. In fact, you share in that belief that Ghana is ready for an independent candidate. You've seen the results of that poll. And the tricky side, the tricky bit aside, what do you make of it?
The question, the poll, okay? It's just a follow-up question. To me, people are thinking it's tricky and things like that. If you are satisfied, definitely you are going to say yes to whether you say no. Okay, if you are satisfied with
MPP and
NDC,
you will say no to an independent candidate.
Yes, because you are satisfied.
We will also be making an assumption, and again, we will run this poll again and make it specific to independent candidature.
Yeah. And so if you want, I'm coming.
I think the word will be alternative.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
It's not independent candidate, it's alternative.
He's on the floor, so allow him. Please go ahead.
And so definitely, okay, let's assume that is for the second. Even with that 35% saying yes to independent presidential system, that one alone is a trump card for us. I call it as a redemption vote. You know, it reminds me how I remix Bob Marley's song, Redemption, pam, 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 pam. You see, definitely Ghanaians have come to that realization that we need to do away with the partisanship. And especially coming from MPP and NDC. It's the same vehicle. All what they do every election year is about changing the driver.
So as far as you're concerned, looking at the polls, the result from the polls, even though it's 35% and 65% will definitely outweigh it, you think even at that level, it is still a strong statement yet by Ghanaians as far as independent candidates?
I wanted to further analyze that.
Let's
this 65% is for MPP and NDC to share. And so if you want to use the percentages that they got in 2012 and then 2016, and you want to find out the average, you will realize that everything is actually in favor of the independent presidential system. I did that analysis. I don't know whether I can have time to read.
Maybe along the line. So from what you're saying, 65% goes for NDC, NPP, and they're sharing it as far as you're concerned. So if they're sharing it, I mean, I'm not super good at maths, but that's like 10%.
I think they might have answered the first one without even bothering to answer the second one. Because the question is, are you happy or you are not happy? They are not happy.
They're not happy.
I wanted to make that analysis.
Let's see if we can do this quickly.
Yes. From this survey, what I was saying that if election were to be held as at 15th of May, when the final from the Facebook came, what indicates is that 35%, will say that they want to vote for.
So assuming this was an election.
An election. And then 65% for MPP and NDC to share. Now, using the 2012 elections, out of the 65%, NPP will have 31.51%, while the NDC will have 33.49%. If we were to use the 2016 election based on the 44.44 and then the 53 point this thing, you realize that for the 2016 election, 35.64 will go for NPP and 29.36 will go for NDC. Now, if we are to use the average of 2012 and 2016 election results, out of the 65%, NPP will have 31.89%, whilst the NDC will get 33.11%. And so if elections were held on the 15th, what it means is that it would have gone for second round, and then the independent would have led the polls. And that is a very strong statement.
No, this one
coming from Ghana.
This one was done in English.
Let him land, Mr.
But you see, majority of Ghanaians.
Mr. Akpaloo, let him land. Let him land.
Oh no, he landed already.
Oh, did he?
Oh,
he didn't. Let him land.
I have not landed. The good people of Ghana, they've made a very strong statement. And you know, when this results came, I was wondering whether JoyNews, you had that intelligence that the economic intelligence units were bringing in.
No, we don't have that. But I'm still getting the figure for you, those who participated in this poll, so that you know the number.
No, it was
and then it will help you.
You see,
it's 9.6. It's
9.6. Okay, there it is. So yes. 9,600 people.
Yeah, you see,
it's far more than what the economic.
This 9,600 people. No, you spoke.
You have.
9,600 people you are mentioning there. They are all people who can read and write. When it comes to elections, those who go and vote, majority of them, they don't know how to even read and write. Okay? They will not even spend their time. Let me give you a typical example. What happened at Ayawaso election, just personally. You know that place is elite community. Look at the turnout. When they heard some 1-2 shotguns, decided to not to participate. Okay. So this learned and whatever, the elites and whatever.
You think these are
they
elites?
Don't decide who to govern this country.
You don't really have to be an elite to be on Facebook. Facebook is made up of all kinds of people.
Sweetheart, those who go there with that, who are not able to read and write, they will not spend time on this.
Fair enough. Mr. Gan, so I've just heard from several different perspectives here as far as the result is concerned. You had the analysis that Mr. Osei-Yeboah made, and he is an experienced person in the area you are venturing into at the moment. Your thoughts on his analysis?
I tend to be so the way I think about this poll is, yes, it is a good indicator. I don't believe I intend to be naive about the process and say because the poll says A, it means it's a home run. I don't think it's a home run. I do think there's still a lot of work to be done, and we are committed to doing that work. I agree with Mr. Akpaloo on one angle of what he's just said, which is that, you know, the poll may not necessarily reflect all of Ghanaians, although it reflects largely the youth and the middle class, which in one way or another do have some level of influence in our kind of political dispensation. So I'm not just taking this lying down. But what I'm saying is that we are not being naive about the process. We will still get on the ground and get some work done, put all our energy into it. We do need that side of the electorate as well as the side of the electorate in the hinterlands and in the rural areas. So it's a good poll, but we also have work to do. And we will do it.
Certainly. And before we wrap up this conversation, I'll have the two gentlemen, especially Mr. Osei-Yeboah, give you some advice if he has any, because he's been there and he's failed at it twice consistently. I don't know whether or not you will find his advice to you valuable, but what is it?
I always find every advice useful,
very well.
One way or another.
Very well. But what is that one thing you think you have that you're introducing, that you're going to tell the people on the ground, talking about getting to the grounds with your message? What is the one thing? What is the strategy? I've seen that you have you said you are going to introduce an economic, social, technological, political pillars. And I mean, I need you to break it down to us in very few seconds, as briefly.
Yeah. I mean, I think the summary of all I was trying to say is that I am committed to equipping Ghanaians, whether in the public sector, whether in the private sector, whether as individuals. I am totally committed to equipping Ghanaians so that they can create their own opportunities. I think we need to move away from this process where if somebody doesn't get employed, they feel their life is over. Or if the public sector cannot absorb people, they feel their life is over. I want to move our economy to a position where people are able to create their own opportunities. So that is, in a nutshell, all I am trying to put out there, so that every human person in this country can be able to get out there and make the best out of their lives.
Is that what you think we need, what you think we're lacking that you have to bring on board?
I think it's what we've always lacked. Look, I don't think we can run away from the fact that Ghana has had all these resources all this while. We've had it for all these 60-plus years. We've had political parties come and go all these 65 years. The question we haven't answered is, how come that has not translated into a better living standard for the majority of Ghanaians? And I think if we come down to that very basic fact, then it simply answers the question that, well, the people we are putting in charge are not being able to use their technical abilities to convert the resources we have to the capabilities of individuals being able to move their lives forward. And that's what we want to change.
Okay. And how much do you know about Ghana's local politics? Are you well versed with it?
I have always been Ghanaian. I've always been in Ghana. I would always be.
But you're based in the diaspora.
I am not entirely a Nino to the political thing of Ghana. I may not have been making a lot of output, publicly in the past, but I have been very well seated in the process. So I'm not entirely naive to the process in Ghana.
What do you make of those who say that usually independent candidates, and this question goes to Ms. Oseyebo as well, have usually used this position? They know they won't win anyway, but they want to use the position to make a point, to sometimes prop up their business, or sometimes endear themselves to any of the political parties.
If propping up a CV, I have a CV. I don't need this to prop up my CV. I am not here to become somebody or make a name as somebody. I'm here to get a job done. It's a job that should have been done a long time that has never been done. And so, I am being a citizen here. I'm not doing this because I want to make a name. I have nothing in all of this. If I wanted a good job and a good CV, I would have stayed, running around Africa doing the things that I love to do. So this is about a patriotic call, and that goes to every single one of us. If we do want to see this country change, put the personalities aside, put our individualness aside, and put the whole political agenda aside, and let's get to work and get this done. This is not about me. This is about getting Ghana something forward.
Okay, this will be my final question to you, and it is that you have seen Ghana's independent candidates and their record in the history. They've all failed miserably. What makes you think that this is the time for you and that you won't fail just like they have failed?
Well, that should have been a question not to be answered by me. I don't know what methods they've used. I don't know what strategies they've used. And so it's hard for me to answer for them and draw conclusions from that. What I do know is that I am coming with an entirely different agenda to this process, an entirely different mindset. Okay. And that is what I want to drive. And it's up to the Ghanaian people to make their decisions as to whether they find me a leader or just one of the ordinary and normal politicians we've had all these years. This is different. This is not about politics.
Very well. Well, I wish you all the best, but do hang on. We'll take a round of final comment. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Akpaloo. Mr. Akpaloo, wrap up your thoughts for me on this one, and if you have an advice for the new entrant, perhaps.
I welcome him to the job. At least he has some good points there. He wants to create opportunities for people, and that's what we are looking for. Because that's what I said earlier on. We need a leader, somebody with a vision.
Do you find in him a leader?
I can see he has something to.
Okay, so would you like to perhaps join his bid?
I will be happy to involve him in our party.
I see.
To move this country forward. Because he said something that touched my heart. He said he's not doing it for his personal gains, just to. It's like a calling. That's that calling on him. So he has to come home and join LPG. So that we put heads together and move this country together. Okay. I'll be happy to have him because he's an accountant, and I know accountants, we know what we can do when it comes to money.
Your final comments.
My final comment is that if you want to go solo, he wants to go solo because that's Jacob got 0.14%, 2012, and 0.14% in 2016. Nothing has changed. The same 15,000, but Jacob has been working. Yeah, he has been working, he has been going all over, but still he couldn't make it. So I don't think he will do anything different to get. But the truth of the matter is that 2020 will be a different ball game. And 2020, LPG, we know we are going to win the elections. Definitely we'll win the elections because, sometimes you also need divine intervention. All these things, you need divine intervention.
Okay.
Because if you don't have, it's difficult for you to go out there and tell somebody to vote for you. But I have done it before in 2004.
But a lot of people have actually said that you tend to align either to the NPP,
2012,
the NPP or the NDC. People have actually said, but people say you align to NPP.
No.
People say you align to NPP. That's true, isn't it?
No. 2012, 2016. They disqualified me. Okay, because of the name Akpaloo.
So then you aligned to the NPP. So you aligned to the NPP. So your party is not independent after all.
I supported the Kufuor because he had something for Ghanaians.
Okay.
The free SHS and the one district for one district, one factory.
Are you benefiting from the one district, one factory already?
No, my people are benefiting from it because my town Akachi, we are building a factory, a biscuit factory there. Are you okay? So, so far as my people there and my people in the Ashanti region, they're also benefiting from it. I see.
I've run out of time, but thank you very much, Mr. Akpaloo. Mr. Sayabo, your final thoughts?
You can't say anything.
You know, there's that saying that it's easier said than done. You know, Kofi Akpaloo, he came to me, we met, and I've given him a pieces of advice.
Okay.
Oh, he has something in you. It takes a certain caliber of personality for you to come out to say that you want to be president.
Do you guys want to team up somehow?
Oh, we are talking. We know that we have the Independent Candidates Association of Ghana, whereby I'm just trying to help a lot of people because most of them will be undertaking uncharted waters. And for that matter, somebody like me that have gone twice, I'm in a position to advise them. One thing that is certain is that most of these individuals have a lot of ideas to offer Ghana.
Okay.
And so this is the time for Ghana to listen to the
This is the time for Ghana to listen to the independent
presidential system. That is how
independent presidential system.
IPS. You know.
This is the time for Ghana to listen to the independent presidential system, he says. Mr. Ghana, are you there? Okay, looks like I think
the IPS has been
we're done. We're done with him. We're done with him. But it's been an interesting conversation. I wanted to end with some comment on Facebook and social media about the conversation that we have had, but I'm not sure we have enough time for that. But you can log on to Facebook, our page there, JoyNews on TV, and read those comments there. Also on Twitter as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Jacob Osei-Yeboah, popularly known as Joy, has been here for this conversation. He's made tried to be the president of Ghana as an independent candidate twice. And also here with me is Mr. Akpaloo, who is leader of the LPG. Thank you very much for coming, Mr. Akpaloo.
Thank you, my dear.